What's up, investors? It's the Russian dude. I'm a little bit sick today, so if you don't mind, very short and straight to the point episode. By the way, Panthers are just one win away from the Stanley Cup Championship. Let's go. So yeah, speaking about straight to the point, let's talk about some ridiculous Russian propaganda. so okay, today we have this car driving on one of Russian highways, and there are very many things to discuss. First of all, the color scheme of a car is white, blue, red. And then obviously there is an elephant in the room, or better to say, Putin in the back windshield, however it's called, who is looking at us like, hey, are you tailgating too close? Do you have some safe distance? So be careful, don't get too close to me, or I will be threatening with the nukes. I cannot think much of any jokes being sick, but you get the idea. But okay, so speaking about some serious stuff, first of all, we're gonna talk about some crucial agreement between President Zelensky and President Biden. Then we're gonna talk about another attempt by the Russians to escalate the situation significantly. And then I'm gonna give you an update from the south and the east of Ukraine, because according to NATO, the losses of the Russians are astronomical. And so yeah, to begin with, during the most recent G7 summit, the countries finally and now officially agreed to use $50 billion worth of Russian frozen assets in favor of Ukraine. This money, it is estimated that Ukraine will receive by the end of 2024, so basically in the next 6 months. But another even more important thing is that President Joe Biden did sign a 10-year security guarantees with President Zelensky. Basically, America will be helping Ukraine, and this will include additional air defense systems, Patriots, and squadron of aircrafts, and not just F-16s. One of the very few things about these new security guarantees by America is that in case Russia attacks significantly the territory of Ukraine, both American and Ukrainian representatives will meet within the next 24 hours to discuss the appropriate response. At the same time, America and also its partners, unfortunately, they will not send its troops to Ukraine to fight against Russia, but they will do everything possible economically and also by sending obviously weapons to Ukraine to help this country resist the aggression from Russia. And obviously, as soon as the war is over, hopefully sooner than later, America will help Ukraine to restore its country. But unfortunately, due to some bureaucracy, this agreement between America and Ukraine is only valid for as long as Biden is in power, which basically means that the next president of America, whoever it will be, can, if he wants or she wants, to cancel this agreement. Right, next we're gonna talk about a huge escalation attempt by Russians, and basically what happened is that they brought their fleet and one nuclear submarine to the coast of Cuba, which is literally just 100 kilometers away from Florida, from the territory of America. At this very moment, the US Navy and Air Force, they are watching closely the movements of the Russian vessels, because, let's be honest, if it does not give you the Caribbean Crisis 2.0 vibes, well, I don't know what else will. And the response by American people is relatively 50-50, to be honest, because we have articles which headlines can be completely opposite spectrums. One headlines say that guys, don't worry, there is nothing to worry about, this is just a routine military practice by Russians, everything is under control. And at the same time, some other articles are extremely worried, specifically about the nuclear carrying submarine that Russians brought to Cuba, saying that this is the one which the US and NATO was worried about. To be honest, this is, in my personal opinion, just a show of power by Putin. I do not think he will go further than that, because I mean, let's be honest, he's already stuck in Ukraine, there is no way he's gonna engage such a powerful ally as America into this war. This just simply does not make sense for him. But we do not know the mind of Putin. Nobody believed he will invade Ukraine back in 2022, and yet it did happen. But okay, and now let's switch our attention to the southern and eastern front lines, and first of all we'll make a stop next to the Crimean Bridge, where you can see that Russians continue to bring those barges in their hopes to protect the bridge from Ukrainian naval drones. Whether this will work or not is highly questionable. Next is the video from the capital of Russia, Moscow, where according to the locals the factory, which is responsible for producing some components for Russian Su fighter jets, as you can see, is on fire. According to the local authorities and Russian propaganda, as always, somebody was smoking in an appropriate place, but, well, suspiciously enough, this is a Su fighter jet factory. Next we have a video from Belgorod, Shebekina, where local residents reported some very loud noises last night, but these loud noises came from the side of Russians, not from Ukrainians, which allows us to assume that most likely Russians, the army, accidentally, like it always happens, bombed their own city. In Urozhaini, located already in Donetsk region, we can see the work of Ukrainians, which is in the assistance with the FPV drones. As always, they use the drones to reconnaissance, to gather the intelligence, and then they send forward the infantry, completely crushing the defenses of Russians. And ultimately, according to the most recent data, it looks like that unfortunately Russians almost finalized constructing this railway between Mariupol and Rostov-on-Don, which is going to be the next major logistics artery for the Z army in the southern parts of Ukraine. It is just the beginning of this railway. Most likely it will go all the way until Melitopol, and then they will try to connect even the Crimean Peninsula. And all this is basically their attempt to bypass the usage of the Crimean Bridge itself, because as you can see, it is within the range for Ukrainians already at this point, so they want something faster and cheaper to repair. In case Ukrainians attack the railway, it is obviously much cheaper and much faster to repair rather than the entire bridge. And finally, let's talk about the losses of Russians along Kharkiv front line, which even by NATO have been characterized as astronomical. And guys, this is a extra chapter for my Patreon members, so if you want to continue watching and see fully uncensored episode of The Russian Dude, please go ahead and check, the link is down below, literally the best way to support my work. Well, there you have it, guys. Sorry it's been a little bit shorter episode, but thank you so much for watching. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you like this style of daily news updates, helps a lot. Don't forget about my second channel, The Russian Dude Investing. All the other useful links are down below. PayPal donations, Patreon, Instagram, of course, merch, hoodies, cases, phones, t-shirts, all this kind of stuff. Thanks so much for watching. See you tomorrow.
Russian dude, the Russian dude, he'll drink and dance and never brew with a smile.